All right, we can see the numbers going up there. Or maybe I can't. I don't know if you can or not. All right. Give it just a few more seconds. I'll tell you this with my group, I think people are starting to get a little bit fatigued with Zoom. That's not meant to be necessarily like a discouragement for you. You pick whatever your group is, but our group is feeling that way a little bit. About 10 more seconds for people to answer. All right. So here we go. We will share results. Okay, can you guys see that? All right, cool. I'm looking, I have like half of Jaleesa Wright's head and she's nodding it. So great. Thanks, Jaleesa. Okay, so how fatigued? You can see here, okay, so 6 people said that everyone seems to be actively engaged and not fatigued. That's great. Number 4, the fatigue is in early stages. 4 people chose that. 5 people said that fatigue is real and that we are feeling it. 3, our attendance is being affected by Zoom fatigue. To be honest with you, that's probably where my group would be, is that that our attendance might be at some level starting to be affected by it, and so that's definitely a thing for sure that we need to look out for. I read an article the other day that talked about why Zoom fatigue is a thing, and it's literally because you're processing so many human faces at one time. Ken Core did a like kind of a mental health night for some of our young professionals. And one of the things he talked about Zoom fatigue being is that literally 30% of human communication is verbal and 70% of it is nonverbal. And obviously you can see on a little postage size stamp, portal, some body language, and maybe you can read some facial structure about whether people agree or disagree or having a good time or not. But you are missing so much when you are not in person of communication that your brain is having to work harder. So for me, I will be probably exhausted after this 1-hour meeting because I'm literally like trying to like help you guys like navigate this and feel okay. If they're bored, maybe I should move on quicker or not. And I just want to release you that if you feel fatigued by it as a leader, that's okay. Like it's okay to acknowledge that. And know that everybody else is feeling it too. So that's kind of where we are with that. I have one more poll coming up, but not right now. So we're going to go back to our Groups Huddle. Okay. All right. So here is where I get to share kind of some news for us that we are asking. Normally our life groups will take off for the summer. We are asking that our groups continue to meet and don't hear me out before you make a conclusion about this, but that we're asking our groups to meet over the summer. So here's why. Here's the heart behind it. We will have no in-person gatherings until June 14th. And even with that, it's going to be weird. Now you all are our leaders. You all kind of know, and you have the pulse on where your people are. For my people, we have young professionals primarily, and we polled our group. How many of you are planning on coming back in June to in-person services? I have young professionals. The oldest people that I have, I think, are 35, maybe 36 in our group. I would say 30% of them said that they plan on coming back in June. 70% of my group is saying that you can see me later in the summer, maybe even into the fall. So I am afraid that if our life groups, and our Bible reading groups and our mentor relationships, their rhythm has always been to meet through the summer. But I'm afraid with our life groups that if we are shutting our life groups down over the summer and we have these in-person services that are weird, or maybe people don't feel comfortable with them, I'm afraid that we're forcing them to choose between staying connected to their church community by going to these services that might even only have 50 people in them with masks and gloves and all those kinds of things, or not being connected to their church at all. So over the summer, You guys, as life group leaders, Bible reading group leaders, and mentors, you will continue to be the connecting point for our people, for the church. Now, these gatherings, right? These, if I'm thinking about my life group that meets on Thursday nights, I'm probably not going to have that be a formalized time every single week where I go through a Bible study. I might make that a 30-minute check-in time with our people, right? To say, hey, how can we pray for you? What's going on in your world? I'm also not going to be the one that leads that every single time. There are men and women in your group who could step up to be a leader. And if you're only going to meet for 30 minutes, you might ask somebody who's not ever led before to share a Bible verse that has made an impact in their world that week, right? So come up with creative ways to get your group involved on the leadership side of things. The point being is this: please do everything that you can to avoid burnout. The rhythm has always been that we take the summer off so that we allow the rhythms of meeting every week. If you're like me, you know that your meeting night comes every 6 days. And sometimes just getting a group, like sometimes getting a lesson put together or thrown together can be hard. Now, what I'll say is this, is that if you want to continue to have a Bible study, I will continue to write lessons based off of I'll continue to write lessons that are based off of the sermon. And so you don't have to do anything prep wise for that. The questions will be written out for you. You can continue to have that if you want to, but we will have you all choose what you study if you do, or what your group looks like. But I'm just asking you to continue to meet over the summer. I'm going to stop this so I can see everybody's face. Does anybody have any of my life? Thank you, Parker, 2 thumbs up. Does anybody have any questions about meeting over the summer, what that might look like? Any concerns about that? All right, great. I was expecting, oh, Larissa, what's up? Oh yeah, you got to turn that mute off. There you go. Yeah. What's up, Larissa?
Well, I was hunting for where's the hand raising button, but that's okay. We were talking about maybe not so much meeting to do like a lesson, but maybe just meeting to touch base with everybody, just like to give an opportunity to still touch base. Janice and I know that we are probably not suffering from Zoom fatigue as much as others because we still have to go out to work and we're not stuck in our house, and with Zoom being the only way to touch base with anybody. But we have a few games that we can play that everybody else can play at the same time, like Jackbox games and stuff that work really well over Zoom. So we thought about just doing like weekly game nights and touch-ins. Is that something that you would caution us to consider maybe pausing? That way people don't burn out and get fatigued with touch and base, and like on the Sabbath year, how you just let the land rest, and maybe we should do that during the summer? Or is that something that maybe at this time you would encourage, since it is so strange, that it would be okay to continue doing that?
I think you continue to do what your group needs. When it comes to me, as far as my leadership style with this kind of thing, is that I want to give guidance and direction, but I want you, because you know your group best, to make the decisions on what that looks like. So I have a high level of trust. Like Larissa, if you think our people need more biblical engagement right now, or our people need more kind of just touch point, hang out kind of deal, or maybe our people need to take the week off, I will trust you with that. So I know that's like a non-answer, right? Maybe you want a little bit more of a directive answer, but I would say that would be for you. You choose what format works best for your group, and that's just just ask your people. Hey, do you need less of this, or do you need more of this? I think that would be the route that I would go.
So, I have a question about, is there a thought about like if some groups felt comfortable, maybe Bible reading groups especially, like meeting in person or a little, not on Zoom, but then that, like you were saying, kind of excludes people who maybe don't feel comfortable with that yet. Is there a thought of like kind of doing a hybrid mix, or still like, would you encourage still Zooming whatever's happening in person? Like, what would you think, or what's your thoughts about how to not exclude people who maybe don't feel comfortable with that yet, while still including the people who are ready to meet in person?
Yeah, I love it when you segue so well into kind of where we're heading next, Rebecca. So that's perfect. That is perfect. We'll answer that and on the next slide. But I'm so glad you're thinking that way, because we all have to. We all have to be thinking about some of our people will be comfortable immediately coming back, and some of our people won't feel comfortable coming back. And so we've got to start thinking about both. I have one more poll, and this is information that I'll share with Aaron. We are looking at right now in-person gatherings. June 14th will be the first kind of public service. So I am going to launch this poll. The question is when do you plan on gathering for in-person worship at the Church Avenue South? So you'll see the options there. When do you plan on gathering for in-person worship at the Church Avenue South? Take your time. You need to think about it. All right. Still waiting for two more. All right, we'll go ahead and, kind of surprising, but good. Okay. All right. So I will, let's go ahead and share the results. This is what our people are saying. So 7 people said June 14th. 3 people said end of June. 2 people said end of July. 1 said early fall, and 5 said not sure yet. Okay. All right. This is great. Thank you guys for giving me that feedback. All of this is useful for us and to know how to plan. And how to organize. And to be honest with you guys, what would be super helpful for me is if you could shoot me an email sometime this week. Just give me, and nobody's held, I mean, if there's anything that I've learned this season is that nothing is set in stone yet, right? New information is coming out all the time. And so you are not held to any answer. I mean, I can't even see who said this stuff. This is anonymous, but you're not held to anything that you or your groups is saying that you are going to do. But if by sometime this week, if you would shoot me an email saying, hey, Hunter, this is the vibe that I'm getting from my group, that we're expecting to come back on June 14th, or that we're expecting that our group is saying, hey, it might be fall before you can see me back. If you'll just let me know what your group is thinking in general, you don't need to take a poll, just kind of give me a general vibe about that. That would help us to plan on kind of what y'all are thinking, what y'all are thinking and what your group is doing, so that we might know who to expect when. So that's kind of where we are with that. All right.
And that's like for a big group church service, not for like when our groups are meeting back.
Right. Yeah, that's for church service, in-person worship at the Church Avenue South. Okay. All right. Well, we will hop back to our next thing. Okay. So guidance for in-person gathering. Now, before I say this, I want you all to know, here's the disclaimer, is that for in-person gatherings, the Church Avenue South is neutral on whether those should be happening or should not be happening. You all are grown adults. And what we are going to say is this, is that I want to be together with you all in person. But I also know that there are men and women who do not feel comfortable gathering, and that is completely fine. That is completely okay. As a matter of fact, I get it. My wife is due June 2nd. And so our son will make his entrance into the world around then. And I'm being very cautious because we've made it this far, and I don't want to give my wife coronavirus, right? So each person is going to have to make a decision based on their own circumstance and their own conscience about whether they gather early or whether they gather later. And no person should feel excluded for not choosing to gather in person. So let's go over some things about what that might look like. According to the mayor, these are just the mayor's guidelines, that May 11th, that was last Monday, through the 25th is phase 1. That's 10 people or less gathering together. So that means that if your group wants to gather together, Bible reading groups, I think mostly everybody has 10 or less. If not, there's just a couple exceptions that most of our life groups are not 10 or less. Most of them have above 10 on the roll. So what I would say is I'd be cautious, group leaders, about gathering your people before May 25th, only because and this is talking to life group leaders, only because I don't want to put you all, or for you all to put yourself in a situation of having to choose who gathers together or not, because that could be a possibility if you had a group of 20, right? Maybe not all 20 want to gather together, but maybe 15 of them do, and I just wouldn't want you to turn people away. So that's May 11th through the 25th. May 26th through June 9th is phase 2. That's 50 people or less gathering together. That's now that point, that's everybody. 65, those of us who are 65 or older, who are at high risk, should plan on staying home and not gathering. So what that means is that for you as a group, you are free as just adults who can make a decision for your own social gatherings, right? That you are free for your group to meet May 26th and on, assuming that Mayor Cooper for Davidson County, whether you're in Davidson County or not, our church is. And so we're going by Mayor Cooper's phasing, his different phases. So this could revert back to phase 1 if things get crazy. But as of right now, the only thing that's not satisfactory is the number of new cases. I even saw where the transmission rate is actually satisfactory now in Davidson County, which is wonderful. It hadn't been for a long time. But May 26th through June 9th, you all can gather together, and that's fine, with some stipulations as far as the church goes. And that's our next thing. The church's official stance is that we want everyone to think safety first. No one's conscience should be violated in wondering whether they should meet or not. On-campus groups, those are people like Brandon England, your group is on, Brent Leatherwood's group is on campus, Bradley and Rebecca Aris, your group is on campus, the College Life group is on campus, Connie and Eddie Richardson are on campus. So there are going to be no groups that are going to be able to meet on campus for the foreseeable future. And that hurts my heart to say that, because I love that our building is utilized by so many groups. It's obviously Russell and Donna and Mike and Shelley's group as well on Wednesday night. And it just is what it is. And for a lot of those groups, Zoom probably will be the best way to continue to meet for a while. Especially right now during this time, our church is on a strict spending freeze. So we have provided childcare for groups for people to come. But number one, it's not even the money, but it's really we cannot assure that a childcare worker who would come to your home or come to your place would have been on strict social distancing, that they wouldn't infect your children or a neighbor's child or you. And so we really have to be overly cautious right now. So all this is like, Hunter, you're telling me who you can meet, but then I don't know, you're asking me to have all these limitations. And I'm so sorry that that's the case, but we really are thinking about your health and safety first on this. If your group wants to meet together, this goes back to what Rebecca Gauntz was saying, to please make sure that you find ways to incorporate those who cannot meet. So my group today, one of the ladies in our group had said, hey, I've got a huge porch. We can get together after phase 1 is done with, after May 25th, maybe like Memorial Day, maybe we can get together. Would you guys want to meet? And maybe we could, but what I would say is your Wi-Fi strong enough that we can have either Zoom set up to where people can gather, or we can do FaceTime, with that there with other people who are not a part of it. those are good, just general practice and guidelines. And so for most people, what they would end up saying is that Zoom, or that the Zoom / in-person gathering might be too clunky. And so it's just easier to all meet in Zoom. But I'm going to leave that up to you. I just don't want for someone to feel penalized because they feel like they can't meet together with people in person. Does that make sense? Finally, if the church is a convenient meeting location for your group, Russell and Donna, and then Mike and Shelley, y'all's group that you talked about, how, I mean, you've got people in Goodlettsville and you've got people all the way down in Franklin. If it is convenient for you all to meet at the church, you can. That is available. You don't have to, but that is available. That back parking lot is available. Before planning it, please let me know, so there isn't an overlap of groups meeting, right? We don't want everybody to, to have everybody there. We just don't want multiple groups meeting back there at one time. So just let me know. But you can use the church parking lot as a gathering place if that's a more centralized, convenient location for you. And then finally, this goes back to our point earlier, everyone should still feel as much involved in their group, whether they are in person or not. I know this is clunky and this is crazy, but I'm trying to think of everybody here and trying to think of the entire group versus certain subsets who would want to meet or who would not want to meet together. So I know it's a lot of information. We'll pause now. Does anybody have any questions or observations?
I do, Hunter.
Yeah.
So we're a group that hasn't had childcare, but planning for next year, we were planning for childcare.
Yep.
So our question is, when the church, we looked at the 7 or 8 phase that BBC rolled out.
Yeah. Yeah.
For reintegrating. And I noticed it was in the later phases when childcare at church would start back up. Is that around the same time that childcare for life groups would start back up?
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say yes, Brittany, right now, with the caveat of I'm not entirely sure, because childcare for BBC is always on campus based. We're such a diverse group of like people who come from all over that we've adapted for off campus childcare. So I would say yes, but I will write that down and I'll ask Aaron for clarity on that, and I'll email you. That's a great question about when that would resume, because that money is there in the budget once the spending freeze and once we feel like it's safe. We want for you to be able to utilize that for sure. So
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Okay, anybody else? All right. Okay. All right. Well, we will move on. Guys, y'all, A+ to you all for listening to my voice as long as you have. Y'all are great. Grade A people. Okay. We will go back. We just have a couple more slides before we will go into breakout rooms. And then after that, from breakout rooms, you guys will be dismissed for the day. So we've covered that. Okay. End of the year interviews. If you have never done an end of the year interview, your Bible reading group shepherd, your life group shepherd, your mentor relationship shepherd will conduct these with you. Ideally, they will be concluded by June 7th. So what that will look like is, for me, okay, I'm thinking of, just because I see them, Janisa and Larissa and Io, they are a group in my I'm a shepherd over their group. And so what I'm going to do with them is set up a time to talk, and we'll go through, hey, how are you doing with your walk with God? How's your family? How is your group doing? We will also ask if there's anyone in your group that we could approach about leading in the fall. Here's the deal. We are losing life group, Bible reading group, mentor. We are losing people. And it is probably more challenging for me at this point to find new people, because I haven't been with our people in a long time, and the rhythms of that are different. So what I need your help with is, hey, is there anybody in your group that we could approach about leading? A great example of this from last year, Connie and Eddie, you so graciously gave us Andy and Grace and Brittany and Trey, and they've done a fantastic job. That was succession as it was supposed to happen. So I'm so grateful for that multiplication. But if you feel led to not continue to lead in August, in person, I'm able to kind of give this talk. And I'm going to stop sharing so I can see all of your faces real quick, because it's more dramatic for me to be able to look at all of you guys. This is the worst part of my year. And what I mean by that is that it's the scariest part of my year. That we would deploy our shepherds to you to ask you if you feel led to continue to lead. And we don't ask that question hoping that you will give us an answer that you don't actually mean. So I ask that question because I care about you all. I would be a bad groups leader and a group mentor or a minister, someone who is like given responsibility to watch over you all. I would be negligent in my job if I did not ask you face to face, right, in person, well, not in person, right, it's changed, but Zoom to Zoom, if you feel continue to lead, if you feel led to continue to lead. It's our way of saying that you signed up to be leaders, but you didn't sign up forever. The temptation there is to take the highway out and just not ask you and hope that you don't want the confrontation of saying you don't want to lead. And so then you just kind of like continue leading because you just kind of always have done it, and that's easier. Halfway leading is just easier than saying I don't want to lead anymore. So we ask you all this every year because we want to know that you truly believe that God has called you to where you are. And I just have to believe that if we have a mass exodus of leaders, that God is going to supply the people and God is going to supply the mission to continue advancing the gospel. Because he'll provide somehow. He'll provide in some way. And so my belief in God's sovereignty says, Hunter, ask the question because it's the right thing to do. So that's my heart behind it. I would not love you if I did not ask this question. Am I terrified that our shepherds could say, hey, I've got 3 of my 4 groups saying that they feel called to not lead next year? Yeah, I'm terrified of that. But if I trust God with my eternal destination, I have to trust him with this. And please know this, that I fully believe that God calls people to things for seasons. And so if you are not going to continue to lead with leading with us in August, know that I love you and that there's never any weirdness. I think some people, because you primarily relate to me through the Church Avenue South, you think if you're not doing what you were, then like all of a sudden things are weird between us. And that's not the case. I love you all as brothers and sisters in Christ, who I will be praising Jesus with alongside of forever. And that's our primary relationship. Okay, that's my spiel. I hope that you all heard my heart there. And I love talking about this kind of stuff because it gives me an opportunity to put my money where my mouth is and to trust Jesus to be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, even over things like this. So Mike and Jaleesa, you all are have been kind of commissioned by Carter and Alex Sunderman. They did a wonderful job of making sure that you guys were put into place in leadership. Will you guys talk to us about how that came about, that whole idea of, man, we were in the group and now we're leading the group. How did that happen?
Yeah. Man, as we were reflecting, so we've been a part of our West Nashville Young Marrieds for 6 years now. And as we were kind of reflecting on this, it was honestly just amazing to kind of see the mission and ministry of our group and how that's transformed over the years, and how we've sent people out like Sam and Abby and Dave and Lauren to expand into more groups for the church. For us specifically, we just from the beginning, well, first, when we first joined 6 years ago, we were just active learners is what I kind of labeled that phase of life of. We were there, we were participants, we were engaged, and we were just growing with each other and in fellowship and stuff. And around the time that Alex and Carter started to lead, we kind of found a new calling and phase into active partners. We really felt like our position in our group was to, we had a lot of young marrieds, like I said, as our title of the group was. And so we had a lot of transition in our group. We had people that, were called to grad school in different states or, in jobs and stuff like that. And given that, we really felt like what this group was so special at discipleship and in sharing their lives together, that we wanted to be like a support to that culture. And so we wanted to be the people that kind of underneath the leaders of the group were coming extremely prepared with our answers to the questions, or showing people what it was like to be in our attendance coming every week and be very engaged. And so we just really felt like this kind of Barnabas style, like we are here to support you and partner with you guys as you guys lead this group. And, probably a year or two ago, we really started to talk about the idea and bring up the idea of the fact that the Sundermans would potentially be moving on to residency in a different state, and that was coming up in their time. And so even more so did we feel like, for us specifically, like our place was in that group until we figured out what that looked like. And as we got closer and closer to the dates that we would find that out, just having a lot of real conversations with the Sundermans about like, we feel very called and have felt called for a while to stick with this group and we feel like this is why, because we feel like it is now time for us to take what has been established over the last 6 years and to continue it forward. We didn't want to lose what we had in our group. And so we kind of felt like for such a time as this type of a thing. There was kind of, to your point, Hunter, of just like trusting Jesus. We were approached a couple years ago to lead another small group. And again, for us, it was just like, we just felt this very strong pull to stay where we were at for that time. And now we see why. It was to literally take the baton of the Sundermans and keep it going. And we are extremely excited to kind of move from learners to partners now to leaders, and have 6 years of, walking in the footsteps of the leaders of our group to kind of show, or I guess, teach us how to lead in a great way.
Yeah. And the beauty of it too, is like you said, we're really sad to see the Sundermans go, and we're like, man, it's anyone who knows them, it's like, man, that's big shoes to fill. But the beauty of God's word, is not anything that Mike or Jaleesa are going to say, in this group. God will lead and the Holy Spirit will work, so we're just excited to be faithful and facilitate and see how God leads. So
that's wonderful. And what I love, right, and this is for everybody, but what I love this model that you guys went from participants, I like the word that you use there, partners, right, in it. So you went from participants to partners, and now you're leading. And I think you see within that this model of discipleship. And so that you all were growing in your faith as you were getting ready to lead, and so leaders of every kind, right? Bible reading group leaders, mentors, life group leaders. What I would say is, who right now are your Mike and Jaleesa writes, right? Like, who are the people in your group that you could actively be calling up to being partners, not just to share responsibility, but to say, man, I see something within you that might be a calling out to lead within the local church on your own. And that's scary because we grow family, right? Like when we are in a group, we become family, and it's scary to let them go, but ultimately it's the mission of Christ. It's the mission of God moving forward that we're here for. So Mike and Jaleesa, know that we are praying for you guys, and we're here for you all. I'm grateful for you guys. Okay, so finally, we're about to break off into our shepherd breakout rooms. These are the questions that your shepherds are going to go over with you guys, just to chat real quick, and that just takes as long as it needs to take. So how has the season been for you as a group? What have been creative ways that your group has continued to connect? How are you doing spiritually and emotionally? How are you feeling? You can cover any of these. I think the fourth one though, right? How are you feeling about meeting over the summer? Are there any reservations, right? Talk about that. What are some creative ways to help our people combat Zoom fatigue? And then how do you think your group would do in in-person gatherings should you meet, right? So your leaders have those questions. So I knew this was gonna come. I need to quickly put you guys into breakout rooms, but I have to manually do that. So what I would love, you guys just give me a second to get these out. Would anybody else give us a testimony, a word about how your group has done during this time? Because I've got to break you guys off into groups. So any of my shepherds, any words of encouragement to our people? We could also just sit here awkwardly and stare while I do it. So that's fine too. I mean, I'm cool. Whatever you want to do, we can do that. That's fine.
I can share, Hunter.
I need someone to talk. Okay, go ahead. Someone else.
You got it. Go for it.
No, I'm just good at talking and filling the void.
I was just going to say, I feel like I've maybe shared this with Hunter and a couple people already, but just been very, very impressed with my group. Just the girls and rallying around each other. And there were some big events, like one of our girls got married, the girl was having a baby, and there was like a baby shower that got postponed, wedding that got postponed, some like birthdays, and just some really cool ways that we've like gotten to love on each other through that. Like somebody in my group sent me and Jessica flowers from Amelia's trucks, flower truck, and we got to like send a little gift over to the girl who's having a baby, and just like some very like tangible little like gifts and notes and thoughtful things that I think has actually been more so than when we were meeting in person, just an extra effort to like encourage each other that I've been really, really proud of, and just like encouraged to see from the members in our group. So like extra intentionality, I think, during this time, which has been awesome.
Y'all keep going. About 2 more minutes and I'll have it.
That's cool. Rebecca, I was actually going to speak on that, a similar note. This is Brittany. I'm from the Wedgwood Houston Life Group. We branched off of Connie and Eddie's life group last year. Magnolia's talking. And when we were in Connie and Eddie's life group, we, the Walkers and the Michaels, were the only 2 couples that didn't have a baby the whole time we were in that group. And we were able to, you know, bring dinners, buy baby gifts, that kind of stuff. But it was really cool to have our own group this year and have our group do that for us. And then the like meal train got to our old group and they started contributing. So it's really cool to see the overlap of new groups and old groups and the way people serve each other. And that's just been, it's been really special, because that was our biggest thing when we left our group. We didn't want to leave our group. We just kept hearing from the platform at App South, we need leaders, we need leaders. And like the last thing we wanted to do in our life was change our life group. So it's been really nice. I mean, I think we talk to Connie and Eddie now more than we even did when they led our group. So it's been really good. If people from your group do branch out, just let them know that you're not losing them. They're not losing you. It's just growth. So it's really special.
All right, I am down to the last person. I'm literally having to do this off of like my brain. I should have written it down, but I didn't. So that's on me, y'all. My bad. All right. If you end up in the wrong breakout room, we will reassign you, I promise. Okay, all right, that's it. I'm about to open the room. Guys, I love you all. Thank you. We will be in touch with you about what our meetings, our interviews and things like that will be coming up. So before you leave your room with your shepherd, will you please give your shepherd a possible date? Shepherds, if you guys will know kind of where your dates are and what you're thinking, and we'll kind of set those up with you guys, and we'll just talk with you, and those you'll see a form and they'll have that, filling that out, and they can share that with you guys. But yeah, I love you all. I couldn't be more grateful. You all have my cell phone number, I hope. Call me, text me anytime. If it's 2 a.m., I might be asleep, but I don't know. I'm about to have a kid, so it could be 2 a.m. and I wouldn't be asleep. I don't know. Andrew Slusser just had a kid not too long ago, and he and I are going to probably be calling each other at 3 a.m. That might be our most productive time, brother, when we're both up. So anyway, all right, love y'all. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Hunter. Cracking me up.
What's up, y'all? Oh, no. I knew I wouldn't get it right. We have, hold on. Y'all hang out for a second. We people, Io, Janisa and Larissa are not here. So, Io, are you there, bro?
I'm here.
Okay, good. All right, hold on one second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go retrieve them from the other room. Oh. Larissa, come to the meeting. Okay, they're there, but they're not. They haven't joined the room, so I don't know. Who knows? It's all good. All right, y'all. Well, how are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. The Aris family, Rebecca and Bradley, you guys are not in my group of people, but that's okay. Y'all are with Kyle Felt, or not Kyle Felt's in your group, but Brent Leatherwood is in y'all's group, is y'all shepherd. So I'm covering for him. He's a part of our staff resource team at Brentwood. So anyway, okay. All right, so let's talk real quick. Meeting over the summer, obviously Mike and Jaleesa, y'all are just picking up the mantle of leadership, but you still have been a part of the group for a long time. So you know your group's DNA. Sam and Abby, you guys building a new house, right? Like got a lot of crazy stuff.
Yep.
Aris family, y'all are just starting with your group from January, right? And getting some good momentum. Io, Larissa, and Janisa, you guys kind of have been going for a while too. How are you guys feeling about this summer? What are you thinking? Some
Our group actually
Go ahead, Abby.
had a talk. I'm sorry. Our group actually, like, we were kind of talking with them about it, and they all requested that we meet this summer, like
Right.
that we continue meeting. They were like, you know, we usually break for travel, but nobody's traveling, so let's keep meeting and stay connected. So we're actually going to pose the question to them tonight if they want to meet in person or not. We actually had dinner with another couple on Friday. They invited us to dinner. So, and we've all felt comfortable for a dinner. So we're going to pose kind of the question tonight and see how people feel.
And we still have a pretty small group too.
Yeah.
I doubt we ever have more than 10 people each week. So
Good.
That's what we were thinking.
Good. Okay. All right. So y'all are feeling good about that. They're great. Okay. All right, Mike and Jaleesa, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. We haven't necessarily even started to discuss summer yet because we had just transitioned to us meeting about 2 weeks ago. So but I think the general consensus is that we do wish to continue like meeting with each other, because seeing each other's faces is always a great like encouragement. And that's kind of the vibe that I think we've started to get, is especially the majority of our couples are now like, they have children. And so that's who they are talking to all day. And so I think keeping up over the summer will definitely be an encouragement to them, and that they'd be open for that. For us, I think we're probably going to be 50-50 on who is comfortable with like meeting in person and who's not. And so I think we've just decided that we're going to kind of open up just an honest conversation of what people, kind of like what you were saying, taking just like either an anonymous poll or just opening it up and seeing how people feel. And we'll probably continue Zoom no matter what throughout the summer. And then maybe I think Mike and I will just kind of take it upon ourselves to kind of what you were saying, Sam and Abby, like meeting maybe couple by couple and like kind of a more distancy type of a feeling. So like inviting them over for a bonfire and just doing that at least with a couple per week to kind of start to see their faces and encourage them.
Yeah, we've traditionally met over the summers anyways as a group. So it's looked a little different the past few years as people have started to have kids. But I think there's already been, people have already said in the group, like, man, I just miss meeting in person so much and stuff. So yeah, we'll have a conversation with them, but yeah, we'll see. We'll keep you updated though with how things progress.
Yeah, and I think that's, I think what groups and things like that looks like as far as meeting in person will be as different as individual groups, right? Everything will be customized almost, kind of like depending on what the needs of your group are. Larissa they want to come into our room, and I can't figure out how to get them in here. Oh, well.
They're knocking at the door.
They're knocking at the door, man. They're coming. So, okay. Bradley and Rebecca, how are you guys feeling about meeting? I know your group has under 10 people, so conceivably you guys could meet in person. What are you thinking about that?
I think that both of us are just anxious to get out. Like, I mean, and I feel like the people in our group kind of feel the same way. It's just we haven't officially asked the question. It's just like everybody's kind of like, they're letting like 50% of the people come back to work, but I'm not part of it, and like they're frustrated about it or like something like that. So I feel like they would be willing to. It's just officially asking them is another thing.
Yeah,
and also some of us live in Davidson County. I think a few might live closer to like Williamson County, so we're not necessarily sure what is open where we could all go and get together. Because we only have 8 people in our group. That includes us, so there's us and 3 other couples. But yeah, it's just a matter of knowing what is open, what's available for us to gather is kind of the challenge. But yeah, we're all just ready to get together. Like, we've been meeting every Sunday at 10:30, our normal meeting group, life group time that we do when we don't have this situation. So it's been great for us to still connect and stay together and just still be in prayer and have that sense of normalcy, even though it's just via digital screen. It's still been helpful. And I feel like we've gotten to know each other as couples deeper, but we definitely are ready to just spend that time in person together, because it's a totally different experience that way, and we miss it.
Yeah, I've used this analogy since all this Zoom stuff has started. I've said that meeting over Zoom is like it's like a long distance relationship, right? Like, good things can happen in a long distance relationship. Like, you can still create meaningful bonds and things, but they're never meant to be permanent, right? Like, a relationship is not meant to stay long distance permanently. And so, like, yeah, dude, Zoom is not meant to be a permanent kind of thing, that's definitely a thing. Io, how are you feeling about it, ma'am?
Meeting in the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the conversation came up organically. So people started talking about, keeping it going, because I don't know if anyone's emphasized that for some people it's still their main form of social connection during the week, and especially as things are still so getting back on. Personally, I would prefer to start meeting people in person, but obviously that's a question for the group to answer as a whole. I mean, we are floating ideas of doing things outdoors together. So either doing a day trip to go hiking, or have like the one we actually really like think we can get done is in-person picnic at one of the parks, which we feel like we can float with it less than because our group is less than 10 anyway. So, and most of us are young. No one's working in healthcare, and so I mean, obviously we want to be responsible. We don't want to be like asymptomatic carriers, but other than that, I think we'll be good. Yeah. But we'll see what they say. We'll see what they say.
Yeah. I think, since some of our people are, some of our people, or at least this group, is not necessarily older in demographic, right? There's going to be a little less restriction. I think Mike and Jaleesa, some of the things that you guys probably have to deal with that other groups in this room don't have to deal with is the child care piece, right? And what child care looks like. We had talked obviously about getting you guys, like a sitter, and that can happen under normal circumstances. And when that is opened up, that will, right? And so the building would be available for you all to meet and things like that. It's just such a weird time right now with us trying to keep the building safe. Y'all, literally, they sent out a cleaning. I'm going to be like the world's best cleaner by the end of this. I mean, it's like minister / I don't know, de-germifying everything. Like, that will be my job title. Literally, there were like 3 hours worth of cleaning before services, 1 hour's worth of cleaning between services, 2 hours of cleaning after the service.
Wow.
I promise you this, that the church at Avenue South, if you come in person on a Sunday, will be the cleanest place that you will be that week. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So what is that? A total of 6 hours worth of cleaning on a Sunday. So the things that we're talking about, I mean, I'm going to have all of our, I know the Wrights family, you guys are greeters, and so the temperature check there, right? Like, I'm going to have to wear a mask, temperature check, even just to come into the office on a work day. It's, y'all don't have to worry about the cleanliness aspect of it, but it's going to be weird, guys. Yeah. So y'all ever seen, like war movies where like a bomb will go off and everybody gets down, and like the dust, like cloud settles a little bit. And then you see the guys kind of like peek their head up to see who's here. That's what this is all going to be like, man. We're just going to discover who is still with us. And who's going to be like, yo, bro, I'm going to see you when there's a vaccine. Deuces, right? And they'd be all right. They would be within their bounds to do that, because every person has to consider about their health and their safety in their own unique circumstance. Okay, so we've already answered about how do you think your group would do with in-person gatherings. Okay, anybody here, your group is dealing with Zoom fatigue?
I would say yes. I think it's just hard. So everyone except for Mike and I, and then one other couple, they have young kids, and so we're actually meeting at 8:30 at night, so that they can put the kids down. And so I think people are just generally fatigued of the whole situation, and so therefore when we jump on Zoom, it's a very kind of fatiguing experience. But so I've been trying to put my head together of like, maybe we can start to do a little bit of different things. Like, we can talk about the sermon one week, but then next week, maybe we just all come together and share one verse that we've kind of like been clinging on to. And maybe the next week is a game night, like trying to figure out then what the next couple of weeks look like. Because again, I do kind of get the feeling that there are a couple parents who do not want their kids, who are staying like isolated because of their children, which is again, totally fine. So given that we recognize that they're fatigued, but yet they still at the same time want to be with us and still want to like participate. I think we just have to get creative into maybe like changing it up a little bit.
We've been tailoring it too over the past few weeks. Like as this has gone on, we've been like really consistent. Like, all right, let's ask like 2 or 3 questions, you know? So like everyone will get on, we'll chat for maybe like 10 minutes. We'll, you know, discuss a sermon for 20 or 30 minutes and then write a prayer request. We're like, try to be like really respect people's time as well to keep it like, you know, and then we can stay and chat after as well. People will sometimes stay on for 20 or 30 minutes after to talk, but yeah, so just trying to find a balance there.
Good. You know, guys, during this season, you're going to have to give yourself grace. You're going to have to give your people grace, right? Like keeping it as light as possible, keeping it to where you can be nimble, where with 1 week you need to change things on a dime, you can. And what I would say is this, is ask your people, if there needs to be a game night, ask somebody else to lead the game night. You know, like don't feel like that you are having to create the new content every single week. And so protect yourselves as much as possible. In Ephesians, it talks about how the Lord has given the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the shepherds, and the teachers to the people to equip them to do the work of the ministry. And you all are that people. You are the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the shepherds, and the teachers. And so equip your people. Like say, hey, if we want to do a game night, can somebody come up with the game for us to do? And even like offloading that one small thing can free up mental space in your mind to allow you to not have to own that week, you know? So this is about as much as time conservation as it is about your mental and emotional conservation right now. So because we're right here, right? And all of us are like, man, it is almost, I mean, it's halfway through May. And so you're not probably thinking about October, but I'm trying to help you to think about October and to free up, you know, so you're not burning out and running so hard right now. So those are just my encouragements to you, to all of you as leaders. It's just to make sure to equip other people to do that. So awesome. Sam, Abby, how is your house coming?
We got walls and exterior walls and everything now. So
I'm moving in, man. You tell me where it is. I'll move in.
Just cosmetics. All I got to do now is all the cosmetic stuff.
Yeah. So it's looking like July. We're gonna it's gonna be a continual open discussion this summer with our group, because we were already planning on having a discussion about if they wanted to drive out further or if we wanted to like start meeting at the church. And now
that's not an option now.
Yeah. And so now, well, the parking lot. So now we're looking at another discussion of like, along with this, the coronavirus, now that. So, but our group's really good about just like speaking up when they need to. It's small enough where people, I think, feel comfortable enough to speak up, and we've made it where like we've been intentional about being really like individual like dinners and stuff with each couple about they feel comfortable enough to even just talk to us individually about what they're wanting, so we can kind of make decisions that way.
Good.
And our group, I think our groups liked the virtual too. So because then like you can just get on, like if you're on vacation or you're out somewhere, you can just, like what we were just doing in the car, like you can just pop on and not have to miss it, where normally you'd miss group completely. You can do it wherever you're at. So,
you know, Sam, I think that's one of the things that's going to change moving forward is now if the majority of people can't meet, right? It's like, okay, well, instead of like not meeting, let's just all hop on a Zoom call. Even when we can get back to meeting in person on a regular basis, I think having Zoom in the back pocket helps, you know, with consistency. You know, if it's not a good night, you know, I'm thinking, you know, with y'all's life group, Eris family, with your life group, if people are out of town, you can still just say, hey, hop on for a quick 20 minute, or Mike and Jaleesa, if your group is, if kids are being fussy that night, it might be better to meet, you know, via Zoom or whatever. So IO, your group the same way. Okay, well, let's talk real quick. When would be, and I am literally, you all, as far as your schedules go, you're a lot more constrained than I am. I literally am here to serve you guys. And so what is scheduling now? Bradley and Rebecca, you just tell me when you guys can. I'll hand it off to Kyle. But Io, Sam, Abby, Mike, and Jaleesa, what is some good general, you might not have your schedule right in front of your calendar, but what is some good times for you all to kind of meet, to talk through kind of end of the year? Mike and Jaleesa, obviously it's not end of the year for you guys, but you'll get the rhythm, of it. So what are some good times for you guys to kind of have that kind of end of the year interview?
So for us, it's probably evenings, so probably like after 7:30.
Okay.
Just any day,
Yeah, we don't really have a specific day that works out best. We're pretty free most weeknights.
Okay.
I'm in the same boat.
Are you talking via Zoom, Hunter?
Yes.
Okay.
Although, honestly, Sam and Abby, if you guys wanted to, I can just come over to your house and we can hang out. And
either works. We want to keep you safe with the baby and everything too. So
yeah.
we're good
literally
via Zoom.
We're both working virtually.
We're both
from
virtually
home,
working, so
okay.
we're pretty flexible anytime.
Right.
I just have a rotating schedule. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm done by 3 every day. So
okay, good. We'll tell you what, do you just want to do like an afternoon or something like that, like a 4:00 kind of deal?
That'd be perfect.
Yeah. If we plan it like a week ahead, then I can make any time work. So.
Yeah.
It's because you're the real champion, Sam Hughes. You're the real champion. So.
I make the schedule.
Oh, come on! I knew I was talking to the right guy. Make the schedule.
Don't tell my boss. Don't tell my boss I said that though.
Yeah. Dear Sam's boss, he is the boss. Okay. Mike and Jaleesa, when works out for you guys?
We're free every Wednesday and Thursday night, basically. So I do work a pretty busy schedule during the day hours. So, but obviously since we're here and working from home, right at 5, could always work, or 5:30 to try and not push you too late into the night.
You're good. Joy, especially around that time, Joy works until 6 anyway with her radio schedule. So if we did that at 5:30, it would be the only time I'm concerned about things is when it takes away time from Joy and with her work and all that stuff. So it's good. It's good. Awesome. All right. And so Io, you said kind of in the evenings around what time did you say?
Well, I work from home virtually as well, and I'm on a flexible schedule. So anything after early evening after 5 is fine. Yeah. If I just get some notice, I'll make it work. Okay. Yeah, even Sunday will work as well. Saturday probably not.
Okay, awesome. Well, I will write that down, and I'll reach out to you guys this week, and we'll try to make something work. So we try to keep those as informal as possible. But like I said, we just wanted to give people the opportunity to talk to us about kind of where they feel like the Lord is leading them. So, guys, I'm grateful for you. You're doing fantastic. Seriously, you are. And you all are the more than ever, I think you've always been, but more than ever, you're the backbone of our church right now, the backbone of health. And I'm just so grateful for that. So, okay. Any final thoughts or anything like that? Nope. All right. Io, I like that jacket in your photo, man. Whatever your screenshot.
Yeah, that was in Florida, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were on top of a mountain or something, but it's sand. Okay.
It's a beach. Yeah, right there. It was a very cold day to be at the beach, but
what happens when you're looking at postage stamp size views of everyone is you can't see everybody well. So, okay. All right, y'all. We'll tell you what, Bradley, I don't want to put you on the spot, but will you pray us out, brother?
Good thing.
Thanks, man.
God, we're so thankful that we're able to meet together, even at a distance, Lord. Again, this is something that we have prayed and we know to be true, is that you have conquered all, you know all, you are sovereign over all situations. And Lord, we have that hope in you and through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Savior, God. We're so thankful for the leadership we have in place. I think of Hunter, Matthew Page, Aaron Bryant, and just all the leadership at Ave South and even Brentwood Baptist as a church family. God, they've led us well through this off the cuff situation, trying to figure out what to do and what's best for the congregation as a whole. Lord, continue to give them wisdom, give them strength and endurance to serve well, and as well as our leaders in all life groups, Bible reading groups, and mentor relationships. Lord, continue to refill our cups every day, renew our spirits, and help us to continue to lean on you for the strength that we cannot provide on our own, Lord. We just, again, are so thankful for the health that you've given the majority of us, but also restore health to those who are fighting this virus, Lord. Again, we look to you for the strength and endurance, and we just thank you for all your blessings you send our way. And it's in Jesus' name I pray, amen.
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 All right, y'all. Thank you so much for all you're doing. Call me if you need anything. I'm grateful for you guys. Have a good one, all right?
Thanks.
Will do. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Pick the wrong one.
Is the meeting over?
Yeah. We're good, bro.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, take care.
Hey, love you, buddy. See ya.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.